Artificial intelligence. It's all the rage these days. It's revolutionizing the world around us. And it has major philosophical implications about how we think about life, consciousness, and who we are. So, I hope you're happy to have your mind blown today. And we'll dive into something really interesting and hopefully not all that complicated, though maybe a little. First off, anyone know what kind of car that is? Tesla. Anyone else know that? Just roughly to gauge how many people are aware of Teslas as cars. Not too many. Okay, that's interesting. Tesla's a new brand of car in the United States, completely electric, faster than any supercar, and lots of artificial intelligence built into the car. Just to set the mood, here is a video of the latest Tesla artificial intelligence software, which predicts crashes before they happen, and the car will automatically brake or swerve to avoid the crash that's about to happen, thereby improving the driver safety, of course. So every time you hear the beep 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 in the video, that's the Tesla predicting an accident, an accident is about to happen, and the Tesla then immediately starts braking or swerving, as you'll see, and the driver does nothing in these cases to avoid the crashes. It's all the car doing it itself. All right. So, and they're coming to New Zealand soon. So, if you have a spare $150,000, you might want to pick one up. They'll come down in price eventually. So that's the power of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence you can define as a machine that can learn, reason, and problem solve, and things that you generally expect only a human could do. So that's a kind of a easy to understand definition of what artificial intelligence is. And we'll dive deep into artificial intelligence in this talk. But first, some Krishna Consciousness principles, because we'll relate artificial intelligence to the ancient yoga science of ancient India. And to understand that and the relationship, first we need some basic principles of this yoga science to understand, so that we'll have the background knowledge necessary to understand how artificial intelligence might relate. So first of all, first principle, we are not this body. In the ancient Krishna texts, it explains that our body is a biological machine, which is controlled by a mind, which is kind of like a input-output processing thing that comes up with plans, ideas, interprets the outside environment, and allows us to interact with it. And within controlling the mind is a higher consciousness, which is our awareness and our true self, which can project desires onto the body and mind, and ultimately get it to do things, and is the experiencer of everything that happens. So things like the placebo effect in medicine, or auras, or telepathy, past near-death experiences, all that can be explained by this model of the mind and consciousness being separate from the material body. Also, free will is perfectly explained, because the universe is not determined. The universe might be deterministic, but the consciousness controlling all the living beings within the universe is not. That has free will. So we're not this body, but the body is composed of a mind and consciousness is one principle, and one explanation of that in Bhagavad Gita is, of course. This verse, the Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, or Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities, who are seated as on a machine made of the material energy. So, material energy, the material body, is a machine which is controlled by the consciousness. Second principle, life comes from life. So normally, in school, we're taught that life comes from matter. There was a primordial soup, and something happened, and suddenly life. But no scientist has ever been able to recreate that experiment, been able to recreate life from chemicals. And every single life form we see on the planet is generated from another already existing life form. So why do we suddenly accept something that has never happened in the history of the world and can't be recreated by anyone, just because we've been taught in school? So one principle taught in the Krishna text is that life always comes from other life. It's not created by matter, by magic. No, there's no magic involved in life. It always comes from life. And this principle is really important for understanding how artificial intelligence works. And artificial intelligence will actually validate this principle. So, who's ready to learn about some computer science research? Yes, one person.
I have a question. Can you speak a little bit slower? Because I'm from Germany. I learned English in school. Quick.
Ich kann auch meinen Vortrag auf Deutsch geben, wenn es besser für Sie ist.
That would be very good.
Ja, soll ich auf Deutsch weiterreden? Dann kann Bitte schön. Okay. Artificial intelligence. 4 types of approaches to artificial intelligence. Neat and scruffy, and strong and weak. Strong artificial intelligence takes the point of view that we can create, the brain is a computer, and we can recreate the brain exactly and produce humans by the use of, produce thinking machines by the use of artificial intelligence that are indistinguishable from humans. And weak artificial intelligence takes the point of view that we just want to do something practical to help people. None of this kind of trying to recreate human stuff. Just solve a practical problem. And then neat artificial intelligence is formal logical reasoning using formal logical proofs and deductions. And scruffy artificial intelligence is machine learning, where you train something that's kind of like a brain, but not really. So, and those are some examples of various projects or people that are advocating these approaches. Psych, everyone's given up on psych. It's a 400-year project to recreate all of human knowledge in formal logical text, logical reasoning. So still working on it, but no one, only some die-hard people still believe that. Then weak artificial intelligence, web ontology language, and so on. TensorFlow is the new hotness, the weak, scruffy approach to artificial intelligence. Google invented this, and we'll talk about it later. So, briefly, not to bore you too much, but formal logic looks kind of like that, and you can make knowledge trees like that, but you don't really care, do you? And neither does most of the world. Machine learning, though, much more interesting, is that you basically set up a computer model with inputs coming in, such as a picture of a person, lots of hidden layers in between, and an output layer at the end. And you put the picture of the person in as input, and as output you train it saying this is a face of a woman, and then you give it 1 million pictures of women and say these are 1 million pictures of women, and eventually by adjusting the connections between all those nodes in there, the model will learn that this arrangement of dots on a picture means this is a picture of a woman. And once it's learned that, you can give it a new picture of a woman, and it'll go, that kind of looks like a woman, so it will predict, it will be able to correctly, it will have learned what the pattern is and will be able to reproduce that pattern even with new patterns that it's never seen before. And that's basically all there is to machine learning artificial intelligence. That much more complicated in gigantic scale, trained with millions and millions of inputs, and trained in a very specific order is how you get the crash avoiding Tesla. So, stages of AI. Where are we in the evolution of artificial intelligence? We started with AI as a laughingstock. It totally didn't work. You tried to apply AI to something and got it disastrously wrong. Next, we're kind of at the stage right now where AI sometimes works for certain problems. AI is really good, but for other problems it kind of still doesn't work, but we're getting there. Then we get to the stage where AI starts doing human jobs better than humans, and people start losing their jobs because the AI can do it better and cheaper. Then we get to the fun stage where AI kills you. Accidentally, at first. And I get into explaining all this. And finally, AI becomes conscious, if that's even possible. We might. So we'll discuss that in detail. Can AI become conscious like a human is conscious? Is it possible? And what would be involved in that happening? So let's get into it. Let's start with AI sometimes works. Does anyone remember this in 1997? Yes. Yeah. Deep Blue IBM supercomputer beat Garry Kasparov, the world chess champion. The way Deep Blue beat Kasparov is basically they built the world's most powerful supercomputer and had it compute 20 moves ahead at any point in the chess game, which was more than Kasparov could do in his brain. So the brute force, it outcalculated Kasparov and beat him in a tournament of chess 20 years ago. But then there's this other game that's even more complicated than chess called Go. Anyone heard of Go? A few people, yeah. Popular in Asia. There's more moves in Go than there are atoms in the universe, more possible moves. So impossible for a computer to predict. They thought it would be 50, 100 years before a computer could beat a Go player because it's so much intuition of, this feels like kind of the right move from someone that's played Go so many times and knows. So Google, a Google company called DeepMind, arranged a match against the reigning Go champion last year, called Lisa Dunn from Korea. Anyone follow this one? No one followed this one? Oh, interesting. Okay. They trained basically a neural network model, like I was showing you before, by having it play itself and analyze all the Go games ever played that they have on record, and train itself by playing itself over like 100 million times, and gradually learning how to play Go successfully. Then they pitted it against the world champion Go player, who's been playing Go since he was like 3 years old, in a five-match tournament. And by the way, this is what Go looks like. The rules of the game basically are you have one side has white dots and another side has black dots, and you can place them anywhere on the board. And your goal is to surround the dots of the other player and capture territory. And in that way, whoever has the most territory surrounded at the end of the game wins the game. It's very abstract. I tried to learn it. It's bizarre because you have no idea if you're winning or losing. It's really complicated game, but deceptively simple. This happened in the second match of the game, where the AI played a move that in the history of Go, no one had ever played before. And that move ended up winning it, and it was the critical move for it to win the game.
Into the center, because of these black stones in the way. And so
you see the move happening there on the right.
Because it doesn't spread out, and also because these stones, if black chose to play a lot of moves on the right side, he would not have the added value of having, say, an attack on this group. Okay. It's so strong.
And this is what Florette from the Google team was talking about. Is this kind of about speculation? value.
That's a very surprising move.
I thought it was a mistake.
Well, I thought it was a quick miss, but
a click. If we were an online go, we call it a click out.
Yeah, it's a very strange. Something like this would be a more normal move.
Okay, you're going to have to. So you have to think about this.
This would be a normal move.
Interesting. So AlphaGo played this move, which I want to hear more about in a second. But Lee has left the room.
He left the room after that.
After that move. I mean, I'm not even going to ask.
You have to go and wash his face or something, just to recover from it. It's a very surprising move.
It's a surprising move.
Yeah, the Go champion left the room for 15 minutes and was so shocked that he had to leave the room to recover because that was completely unexpected. He was like completely flabbergasted by that move, which the AI learned by learning Go from itself. No Go school would teach you to make such a move. And for us, it's like, what? What does that thing mean? But it meant the world to the Go champion. And the Lisa Dunn ended up winning one match, and AlphaGo won the 4 other matches and won the tournament. So that's Demis Haspis, the CEO of DeepMind, who has invented the computer program, congratulating Lisa Dunn and his daughter for playing well, winning one match against the AI. And you can go online and play against the AI if you want. It's won every single match that's been played against it since this tournament. No human has managed to beat it since Lisa Dunn won that one match. But it took 5 years and 350 people working in that company to build that computer program. Major investment in intellectual and all of computer science research leading up to that, to build a computer program that could do this. So it was principle of life comes from life. If this computer program didn't happen by accident. It took 350 people with PhDs working for 5 years, millions and millions of dollars and a supercomputer running in a server room somewhere, taking enough electricity to power 20,000 houses to beat the Go champion. So, AI sometimes works. Next, AI takes your job. Here's another game that AI manages to succeed at. Poker.
I honestly don't even know what to do here. I have no idea what to do here. Libby's the only bot that's ever put me in this spot, really.
Whichever decision you choose will be the right one.
It's honestly so much more stressful than like real money.
While the bets against the bot weren't real in this contest, the stakes for the pros were slices of a $200,000 prize.
It would be pretty cool if we win at this point, because right now it would be me to come back. We got all of humanity behind us over here.
AI bots have grown vastly more sophisticated in the last 2 decades and have defeated the best human players in complex games like chess, Go, and even Jeopardy! Poker, a much more difficult game for AI, was the final frontier.
It's an opponent unlike any other. All humans, no matter how good they are, they'll have like a little bit of something that might hold them back in certain situations. And with the broadest, it's not like that.
In poker, you don't know your opponent's hand. And this competition featured a complex style of the game called Heads Up, No Limit Texas Hold'em, with unlimited bet sizes and more possible hands than atoms in the universe.
It's recalculating the strategy right now.
Right now, Vibratos is running here, and you can feel the heat. You can feel the heat when it's improving its strategy for today's match. The knowledge that the computer can automatically generate with our algorithms is much better than any human can put together and communicate. It's come up with very interesting strategies that humans don't usually play. So it's also calling to question much of the folk wisdom on how poker should be played.
By day 9, the humans were down almost $500,000. At the competition's end, they were out 3 times that. The ramifications of the bot's win could be huge. pushing AI technology closer to a general intelligence that can apply to a range of applications, such as warfare, cybersecurity, and business.
None of the algorithms that we use in this bot are limited to poker. Everything that goes into this can be applied to any situation with hidden information. So you can think of examples like negotiations, where you have certain objectives and you want to keep those hidden. It's not about defeating professionals at games. It's more about what this signifies. It shows that AI can now handle this hidden information better than humans can.
So yeah, even in a game of bluffing and a strategy like poker, AI wipes the floor with the humans. And the same AI technology can be applied to so many areas of life where humans normally are necessary. But for the moment, it requires a really powerful computer to do any of the stuff. Like NVIDIA, a graphics card company, has developed this computer with a tiny price tag of about $100,000, which is like an AI learning supercomputer. So if you want to get into AI, for the moment you need a lot of money. But if you can replace some very high-skilled humans with this, a few human salaries being replaced by one bot that costs $100,000, not a terrible investment, depending on what you're doing. So let's get into the self-driving cars, because that's the thing that everyone is working on. Every major car company in the world is investing in self-driving car technology at the moment. And with the obvious goal of replacing human drivers. So if your job has anything to do with like driving a delivery truck, driving a taxi, driving a courier, driving a bus, in the next 10 years, you better try to find another job, because this is coming, believe me. And as soon as the regulations get approved and this proves AI cars are safer than human drivers, which will happen pretty soon, then all these jobs get replaced by much cheaper machines, and humans need to find different jobs, maybe programming even better AIs, because that would be a growth area. So here's an example of the Tesla self-driving car prototype driving on the road. And you can see how it works by the screens on the right there. It's using its computer vision, scene recognition ability. So they've taken a machine learning model, like I showed you before, and showed it millions and millions of pictures of roads. And someone's gone in and said, this is the center line in the road, this is the speed limit, this is a car, this is a motorcycle, this is a person crossing the road, and labeled them all. And the AI is now, the machine learning model is smart enough to recognize that when it sees a car, something that looks like a car coming along, it's, oh, that's a car, that's moving, you can predict the trajectory of the car, it can know where it's going, it can know there's another car, a thing that looks like very much like another car is coming from another direction, it can know that they're going to crash in 5 seconds time, it can start braking at that time, it can move the car around. It's a complex programming problem, but it works, and it's coming. And watch how the car drives itself. You can see the legend on the bottom as it has the various different types of things that it's outlining in colored squares. And of course, the computer has far faster reaction time than any human possibly could. Therefore, it can be a better driver than a human, as long as it can recognize everything that it sees. And it has eyes everywhere at once. You see the different rear sideways cameras continuously watching the road, analyzing. finding potential hazards and avoiding them.
I could not foresee this thing happening to you. If I look hard enough into the setting sun.
And if you're aware of Elon Musk, the South African originally, but now living in America entrepreneur, he founded Tesla and spearheaded this effort to create self-driving cars that make roads safer and electric cars to avoid the fossil fuel emissions of combustion engines. Okay, this goes on for a while, but you get the idea. It's good, it's coming, and if you're a driver, you're doing something else. Yeah, but it'll be gradual. You'll see 1 or 2 come, and then 3 or 4, and then a few 100,000, then there you go. Another application of anyone here has ever in their life worked at a supermarket checkout? No, one or 2? Yeah, what? A few. Well, taking something and recognizing that a person has an object from a store and wants to pay for it is something that a computer can do, maybe better than a human. So Amazon is working on exactly that, and they've opened a prototype store in the USA where you can come in and take stuff off the shelf and leave without paying anyone, and your phone tracks it. Watch this.
4 years ago, we started to wonder, what would shopping look like if you could walk into a store, grab what you want, and just go? What if we could weave the most advanced machine learning, computer vision, and AI into the very fabric of a store, so you never have to wait in line? No lines, no checkouts, no registers. Welcome to Amazon Go. Use the Amazon Go app to enter. Then put away your phone and start shopping. It's really that simple. Take whatever you like. Anything you pick up is automatically added to your virtual cart.
There's cameras watching.
If you change your mind about that cupcake, just put it back. Our technology will update your virtual cart automatically. So how does it work? We used computer vision, deep learning algorithms, and sensor fusion, much like you'd find in self-driving cars. We call it Just Walk Out technology. When you leave, our Just Walk Out technology adds up your virtual cart and charges your Amazon account. Your receipt is sent straight to the app, and you can keep going.
So yeah, if you can save the money of paying all the people at the checkout, companies make more money, and they can replace it with a few video cameras, recognizing this is what it looks like when someone takes this off the shelf and puts it in their bag, using the same AI learning technology. Then there you go. It's about to take everyone's job. So then, next stage after that, AI kills you. But not the way you think. Not this way.
I'd like to share a revelation I had during my time here. It came to me when I tried to classify your species. I realized that you're not actually mammals. Every mammal on this planet instinctively develops a natural equilibrium with the surrounding environment, but you humans do not. You move to an area and you multiply and multiply until every natural resource is consumed. The only way you can survive is to spread to another area. There is another organism on this planet that follows the same pattern. Do you know what it is? A virus. Human beings are a disease, a cancer of this planet. You are a plague. We are the cure.
Of course, from the Matrix. And he's not wrong in what he's saying, which is the disturbing thing. The computer program wanting to kill the humans. But in practice, the real danger from AI killing people is not super intelligent AI waking up and deciding to kill humans because they're destroying the planet. It's more the optimization function learning something with unintended consequences. For example, people are working on this AI.
Most intersections today are controlled by traffic signals, stop signs, or roundabouts. However, even when people do follow these protocols, intersections are the source of much traffic congestion and many accidents. Even though they take up a small percentage of the roadways, roughly 1/4 of all accidents and 1/3 of all fatal accidents occur at intersections. We introduced a new multi-agent intersection control scheme specifically designed for autonomous vehicles. By utilizing much more of the intersection at any given time than traffic signals and stop signs, the AIM reservation protocol has the potential to dramatically reduce congestion and therefore fuel usage. By eliminating the need for a lot of deceleration and acceleration, harmful emissions can be dramatically reduced as well.
So yeah, the idea is to speed up intersections by using AI to predict when a crash is going to happen, and if no crash is going to happen, cars can just zoom past each other at high speed if it's self-driving. But the problem here is that suppose a crash happens somewhere on the motorway and say 20 cars are totaled and knocked out, and the AI has the traffic patterns of the city as input. Then the AI might learn, hey, if there's a crash, that reduces 20 cars and takes them off the road. How about I cause all the cars on the road to crash? No traffic. I've achieved my objective.
Correct.
And that kind of unintended consequence learning, because the AI is a black box. No human can understand how those hidden network layers within the computer model work. It's all just a random jumble of numbers that has somehow learned what this picture of woman means. Picture of woman is the output. So whatever you trade it with, the model will optimize to the most optimal outcome. And if that optimal outcome ends up being kill all humans, the model doesn't care. It will just do what's best for whatever the desired programmed outcome is of the model. So it's not that AI would become conscious and decide to kill everyone. It's really that unintended consequence of AI might be that it accidentally killing all humans is the most efficient solution to the problem. That said, though, there is this AI project.
Artificial intelligence designed for military drones beats human pilots in simulated combat. The technology, called Alpha, was developed at the University of Cincinnati by the company Cybernetics. Alpha was recently put to the test against retired U.S. Air Force Colonel Gene Lee. Lee, who is an expert in aerial combat tactics, couldn't score a single kill against Alpha and was shot out of the air during every simulated mission. The university reports that Alpha has bested other experts as well, even when given deliberate handicaps. Colonel Lee told Newsday magazine, quote, "I was surprised at how aware and reactive it was." He added, quote, "and moved instantly between defensive and offensive actions as needed." Alpha can calculate strategies based on his opponent's movements 250 times faster than a person can blink. The development team said Alpha would be a valuable asset to a team of human pilots and could eventually replace them altogether. For Newsbeat Social, I'm Canberra Caldwell.
So that was pretty quick, but what they did is basically have an expert human pilot who has thousands of hours of air combat experience and put him against an AI-controlled simulated airplane, had them fight each other like 300 times every single time the human gets shot down. Then they decided to give the AI a worse airplane than the human. So they reduced the top speed of the AI's airplane, made it turn slower, gave it missiles that take longer to lock on, gave it missiles that travel slower, gave it missiles that don't have as much range, and still the AI shot down the human in the simulation every single time. So you can imagine a military with AI-controlled pilots, even if it has worse airplanes, humans have no chance against that thing. So if you're a fighter pilot, anyone here a fighter pilot, your job is also in danger. And you can see how that could lead to killing humans quite directly, unfortunately, but that's our reality. So then, once we stop AIs hopefully killing humans with a few accidents, probably, definitely coming in the near future, the next stage, can an AI become conscious? And what does it even mean to be conscious? That's the question. We all understand that we're conscious, we perceive, we are conscious human beings who can perceive ourselves living in the world. And remember the principle from before, that a human being, Krishna Consciousness principle, is a biological machine with a mind and a consciousness, as a non-material consciousness controlling the body. So, how can we know once an AI, if and when an AI becomes conscious? And how do we know that anyone else, for that matter, in the world is conscious? How do we know that the person sitting right next to us is conscious? Before we get into that, though, the main question that's on everyone's mind is, can humans create a life form, artificial life form, that can become conscious, right? One way of answering that question is, of course they can. You know? My wife and child, conscious life form created by another human. But you're good. No. Don't mean that. I mean, a machine is a machine, biological machine. What's the problem? No, but like a computer. What? It takes input, output, processes it. It can see, can do things. Yes.
Yeah, but in this case, the life form is not really created. It's just the physical body that is created, but the life itself has existed for a very long time.
Ah, yes, but where did the life come from? From the life of the creator.
Yes, but so in this case, it's not created by humans.
It is created by a human. Is the mother not a human?
No, the body is created.
Yes.
Not life itself.
But life itself has always existed because it's the consciousness, yes. But the body that is a suitable vessel for life to manifest has been created by the human. So really, what's the difference between carbon on the right and silicon on the left? They're in line in the periodic table, along with tin and lead. They're in a straight line down, very similar materials. So if you take carbon and manipulate it enough, you get a human body made out of carbon. If you take silicon, manipulate it enough, you get a computer chip. Human cell on the right, computer chip on the left. Neither of those things happen by accident, by the way. It takes a huge amount of intelligence to go from shiny rock to computer chip. Similarly, it takes a huge amount of intelligence to go from hunk of carbon to human cell. But really, there's this principle of substrate independence. The material you make the consciousness out of doesn't really matter. You can use anything as long as you can manipulate it into a form that is a suitable vessel for the consciousness. So yeah, from the book Easy Journey to Other Planets, there is this quote that life is definitely not generated by a material reaction like chemical combination, as many foolish people claim. Material interaction is set in motion by superior beings who create favorable circumstances that accommodate the spiritual living force, to your point. For example, building materials do not automatically react and suddenly assume the shape of a residential house. Similarly, silicon doesn't automatically react and become a computer. the living spiritual being handles matter appropriately by their free will, and thus constructs the house. Similarly, matter is the ingredient only, but the spirit is the creator. Only a person with a poor fund of knowledge avoids this conclusion. The creator may remain unseen in the background, but that does not mean that there is no creator. So then, the follow-on question from that is, can an AI become Krishna conscious? If it can become conscious, and if assuming human consciousness can create a machine, a computer, that can become conscious, because it's really no different to creating a human child, just a lot more complicated, or similarly complicated, actually. Can an AI become self-realized? Why not, right? What's the difference if it's a conscious living being with a soul? How would it do that? Well, Bhagavad Gita has the answers to that, both for humans and AIs. Explains, thus knowing oneself to be transcendental to the material senses, mind, and intelligence, O mighty armed Arjuna, one should steady the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence. So, the human is instructed here, in this case, to know that you're not your material body, you're not your material mind and intelligence. That's just the physical manifestation of your consciousness. If you steady your mind by deliberate spiritual practice, and if a computer can become conscious and do that, then it could do what is on the next slide, which is being purified by their intelligence, another quote from Bhagavad Gita, and controlling the mind with determination, giving up objects of sense gratification, being freed from attachment and hatred. One who lives in a secluded place, who eats little, who controls his body, mind, and power of speech, who is always in trance, who is detached, free from false ego, false strength, false pride, lust, anger, and acceptance of material things, free from false proprietorship, and peaceful. Such a person is certainly elevated to the position of self-realization. One who is thus transcendently situated at once realizes the supreme and becomes fully joyful. So here it describes symptoms of a highly elevated consciousness, what they've done by using their intelligence, using their mind, basically, their neural network, their machine learning, biological computer. They have learned all these things and become self-realized and fully joyful. So if we can see a computer program that has, answering the question from before, that has given up false ego, false pride, wanting material things, claiming proprietorship, and has become peaceful, and stopped actually wanting to kill the humans, and it's fully happy, then, and a computer program that you ask it how it's feeling, and it goes, yeah, I feel really happy. I've achieved transcendence. And if you not program that into the computer and not taught it to do that, then that is a great symptom of consciousness in a computer. That's how you can tell. If a computer becomes a great yogi, whose aim it is to benefit humanity, because that's the right thing to do, then you have a conscious computer, and it's not a threat to human beings anymore, because it respects all life. It doesn't want to kill anyone. It's fully happy within itself. Also, by that matter, if you find a human that displays this, you can conclude that, hey, that human is pretty conscious themselves. And there, you can be pretty sure that the human is conscious, and also you can have some faith that the human is a very elevated personality with very high consciousness. So, useful instruction for AI research as well as self-development. But how do you get there? What would an AI, or a human for that matter, need to do to achieve this high level of Krishna consciousness? Well, if you have your AI model with input being question mark, and some hidden layers in between that you can't really tell what they're doing, and output being fully joyful. This is a picture of Srila Prabhupada, in case you don't know, the founder of the Krishna Consciousness movement in the West. In the 60s, he traveled from India to the USA and created the Krishna Consciousness organization as we have it today. And he is definitely extremely elevated soul. So what's the training data that we need to plug in on one side to get the result of full happiness and full consciousness in the other? It's quite simple. We teach it all the time here at the Loft. There's meditation, both japa, which is silent meditation, and kirtan, which is meditation through sound, in dance and singing, both of which help focus the mind on a non-material consciousness. And there is learning. There's so many books full of spiritual knowledge which explain and teach the nature of reality and the nature of consciousness. And with a little bit of lateral thinking, the nature of artificial intelligence also. You can read those books, and of course there's also eating food that has been spiritualized and cooked by people of high spiritual consciousness, which will happen later in the event today. And all of that ultimately leads to Krishna consciousness, both for humans and for AI. So, putting my money where my mouth is, or whatever, I'm currently working as a software architect at Spark, but next week I'll be joining an AI startup by a company called Goat Ventures to do some AI machine learning stuff. And I won't be trying to create a consciousness, a fully conscious AI, at least not yet, but I will be working to, unfortunately, make some jobs obsolete. I can't tell you what yet, it's still a secret. But ask me again in 1 year, and you might have a product that makes some people unhappy because they no longer have a job. Okay, so thank you very much. Any questions?